Cleopatra VII is one of the most mythologized figures in history. For centuries, Roman propaganda created the image of a fatal seductress, but behind it lay a pragmatic ruler, scholar, and inventor. Here are a few facts about her. She was not Egyptian. Although Cleopatra was born and ruled in Egypt, she was a member of the Ptolemean dynasty. Her ancestor was Ptolemus Isaachar, a general under Alexander the Great. The dynasty ruled Egypt for nearly 300 years, yet remained Greek. Its members spoke only their own language and didn't even bother to learn local customs. Cleopatra became the first person in her family in those centuries to learn not only Egyptian, but also 7 other languages. Cleopatra was the product of dynastic incest. To preserve the purity of Greek blood, the Ptolemies traditionally married their brothers and sisters. Cleopatra's parents were most likely also brother and sister, children of Ptolemyas. The queen herself officially married her two younger teenage brothers, first Ptolemyas I, and after his death, Ptolemyas. Furthermore, she orchestrated the assassination of her sister, Arsinoe IV, who had a claim to the throne. Ancient Roman authors described Cleopatra's appearance as far removed from modern beauty standards. A large, aquiline nose, a prominent chin, and masculine features. But she compensated for this with incredible personal care. She is credited with creating a hair removal mixture, the precursor to sugaring, made from gum, sycamore oil, and crushed bird bones. To maintain youthful skin, she took baths in sour donkey milk. Hundreds of donkeys were kept at court, and she used a scrub made from dried crocodile excretions, white lead for her face, and an ointment made from sheep fat. In addition to cosmetology, Cleopatra was well versed in chemistry and toxicology. She is credited with authoring treatises on poisons and antidotes, where she conducted experiments on criminals sentenced to death. Cleopatra mastered the art of first impressions and skillfully used her feminine charms. She understood the power of smell long before the advent of modern perfumery.
Historians note that she owned her own incense factory. When approaching someone,
she surrounded them with a cloud of the rarest aromas that literally intoxicated the mind. For Cleopatra, personal care was not simply a means of maintaining beauty, but a carefully crafted instrument of state power. In an era when a woman on the throne was perceived as a weakness and a temporary necessity, her co-regents were always required by law to be men, brothers, husbands. The queen used her appearance, sense, and rituals to create the image of a living deity. Cleopatra's famous black eyeliner served a dual function. On the one hand, it was a recognizable symbol of royal power. On the other, the coal antimony used to make the eyeliner contained lead salt and had antiseptic properties. In the hot climate and in sanitary conditions, this protected the queen's eyes from trachoma and conjunctivitis, allowing her to maintain a clear, piercing gaze during hours-long political negotiations, while other courtiers might suffer from blindness or tearfulness. The ritual of donkey milk baths, for which hundreds of animals were kept at court, contributed to Egypt's image as the richest inhabitant of the world. When hosting guests such as Caesar or Antony, Cleopatra displayed a luxury unattainable even for Roman patricians. The political rationale here was to bribe through aesthetics. The guest understood that this country could feed Rome with grain for decades, since it could afford to waste thousands of liters of the precious commodity on cosmetic procedures. Furthermore, her smooth, glowing skin visually emphasized her status as a pure goddess, in contrast to the rough, often scarred features of the Roman general. Since Cleopatra ruled in the male-dominated world of high politics, she tailored her image to her particular counterpart. With Julius Caesar, who valued intellect, wit, and Hellenistic culture, she acted as an equal interlocutor, philosopher, and scholar. Her personal grooming was refined and discreet. To meet Julius Caesar secretly, bypassing her brother husband's guards, she ordered herself wrapped in a carpetore, according to other versions, a linen sack hand delivered directly to the Roman general's chambers. Later, to impress Mark Antony, she arrived to meet him on a gilded barge with scarlet sails. The queen was dressed as the goddess Aphrodite. Cleopatra and Mark Antony's relationship had a strong hedonistic undertone. With Mark Antony, a military man prone to excess and who considered himself the earthly incarnation of Dionysus, she behaved differently. She drank wine neat with him, cursed like a soldier, and deliberately shocked the public by using. She drank wine neat with him, cursed like a soldier, and deliberately shocked the public with garish makeup and heavy jewelry. This allowed her to become an indispensable part of their ego project. Together with Mark Antony, the queen founded the inimitable Liver Society. Members held nightly feasts, after which, dressed as slaves, they wandered the streets of Alexandria, bullying passers-by and getting into brawls, only to return to the palace before dawn the next morning. When Egypt needed money for its war with Octavian Augustus, Cleopatra unhesitatingly raided the mausoleum of Alexander the Great. She removed the gold to pay off the mercenaries. This was an unheard-of sacrilege, shocking even her contemporaries. Yet Cleopatra herself considered herself a descendant of Heracles, and strongly emphasized her connection to the line of Macedonian kings. The queen stood only about 150 centimeters tall, but thanks to multi-layered garments of the finest linen, intricate gold tiaras, pearl strands, and the skillful use of oils, she visually enhanced her stature. Texts mention that any garment looked more elegant on her than on others. In dynastic politics, the ability to produce an heir directly impacted the stability of the throne. Using honey for its antibacterial properties, rose water, and scrubs, Cleopatra maintained the health of her reproductive system and overall mortality. For a female politician of the time, maintaining youth was a matter of dynasty survival, so cosmetology was an extension of her demographic strategy. Thus, every gram of honey, drop of oil, and layer of black eyeliner served one purpose: to convince men accustomed to settling matters by force of arms that this woman's power was mystical, supernatural, and futile to resist. In August 30 BC, when Octavian's troops entered Alexandria, Cleopatra locked herself in her tomb at Temenos. She sent a servant to tell Antony that she had committed suicide. Upon hearing this, the wounded Antony fell on his sword, after which his comrades dragged him to the queen, where he died in her arms. Octavian tried to spare her life for the sake of his future triumph in Rome, but Cleopatra chose death rather than captivity. According to the most common version, a servant brought her a basket of food, hiding a poisonous snake under the fruit. However, many historians believe the queen consumed a fast-acting poison hidden in hairpins or barrettes. Two slave maids locked themselves in the tomb with her and shared her fate. The Romans discovered them dead some time later. Despite his hatred for her, Octavian ordered Cleopatra buried with royal honors next to Mark Antony. Their children, except for the murdered Caesarion, were taken to Rome and raised by Antonia's wife, Octavia the Younger. Cleopatra lost the war for Egypt, but won the battle with history. The world remained forever captivated by the mind, voice, and unbending will of Egypt's last queen. She was the seventh Cleopatra in her dynasty, but became the only one whose name is known throughout the world. The last queen of Hellenistic Egypt left to forever remain an immortal legend.